Zines and Roger, episode 101. After many months away from the tube, I fancied having a chat. How are you? You alright? How's the crochet going? I've got some stuff to share, crochet related stuff to share, plenty of projects and finished objects and ideas on the horizon and whatnot. Because that's what I do. My name is Rosina and I'm a crochet designer. I do it from my home in the southwest of the UK. And the last few months have been no different. I do have lots of crochet on the go, but I've also frogged an awful lot. So if you look at the balance of it, sometimes you think, oh, is that all there is? The amount of frogging I have done. And in fact, I thought that whilst I chatted to you, I would also do some frogging to just so I wasn't sat here just talking. I was actually also being proactive and doing something. I have lost the YouTubing bug, mostly because it feels like YouTube didn't really care very much whether or not I was making an effort with what I was up to, or you just get buried amongst it all. And even people that had subscribed to the channel, they were not being told that I was putting out videos, and so I just thought, what's the point? And so I've stopped. And I have no intention of coming back on a regular basis yet, if ever, because of that reason, and also because of the amount of time it takes to do. I love chatting. I really do. I love chatting about my favourite subject, which is crochet. I love it. But it kind of feels a bit futile when there's nobody there chatting back. Because I know you guys do. Whether or not that's comments, or whether or not you're probably sat there in your front room talking to me and not telling me you're doing that. Maybe. That's how I imagine it to be anyway. And so, yes, the enthusiasm did wane. And also the other reason why I don't do it is because I was losing focus on actual getting stuff done. I have all these grand ideas about what I want to do. But if I'm podcasting or making videos, that's several hours where I could actually be coming up with new designs. And it kind of felt like I was procrastinating a little bit, which I'm very good at doing. So what I'm doing at the moment is just slowly frogging the front panel of my latest design. It's made with a fluffy yarn, so it's slow going, but it's not impossible. This particular yarn is actually not too bad for a fluffy yarn. Not too bad at all. You know what it's like. I've written a blog post about mohair yarn and the tips and tricks on how to use it, because it is a bit of a bugger when it comes to frogging, in that you really want to avoid doing it. Whereas this doesn't have any mohair in it, I don't think. It's a blend of alpaca, merino, polyester or nylon or something. Get your fluff on, talked about it before. And it is the yarn I've chosen to work for my latest cardigan design. But what I've done is not given this front panel a decent shoulder drop, so I'm going to go right back to the shoulder and add more shoulder drop in that's more in line with the grading I did. I kind of went off piste and didn't actually look at my spreadsheet before, thinking, I know what I'm doing, it's fine, I don't need to actually look at any of the maths I've done. Well, that wasn't true. So I'm just frogging all that, which isn't actually, one panel of cardigan front is not much time in the grand scheme of things. It's all right. And I want it to be good. I want it to be as it should be, rather than just a bit of a that'll do kind of job. So that means a visit to Frogtown. That's okay. That's okay. So yeah, the actual cardigan is worked. See, here's the stitch panel, which back panel, which is full of lovely puff stitches. This cardigan does not yet have a name, by the way. I've got no idea. I was thinking of like French fancy after the little cakes, because I was saying that I think at some point, either in my brain or on Instagram, that it was a very fancy puff stitch. And so French fancy, but I don't actually think I like the name, so I don't really want to call it French fancy, but it's just sort of a working title. And then actually, as you wear it, those puff stitches are upside down like this, because I liked it better that way. But now I look at it, I like it both ways. But whatever. So this is a pink version, and yeah, front panel. All of this is going to go back to here, and then I shall rework it all. That's okay. But I'm making it again because I do actually have a turquoisey version. Just look at that button band. Isn't that fabulous? I do wear this one, but and this is what it's gonna look. This is what this pink one's gonna look like. But the only problem is that my decreases or increases for the neckline to me finish too high up, and I prefer them lower. Hang on, I'm just going to do it up and then I'm going to show you. Sorry, yes, I am wearing tracksuit trousers. It's a home day, I'm allowed. See, to me it's the wrong location, so it's just pulling a little bit. Whereas if it's down here, about here, to start the first button, that won't happen. And it will be a bit more gentle. That's the idea anyway. And I just didn't like the way I made those decreases was going to be very difficult. Sorry, my eyes have cut off. It was going to be very difficult to write in a nice sort of way. They were, yeah, slightly awkward. I love that button band so much, so much. But yeah, lovely sleeve, great length. That. Was I going to change that? I can't remember. I don't think so. But I was going to change how it all met here because I didn't quite like the big gaps. I don't think I can avoid it completely, but I can try and make it a bit tidier so that maybe we have those slightly different. I might not be able to avoid it though, just because of the way they sit against the edge. So more on that. Either I'll probably share, as usual, on Instagram, and then maybe I'll have to come back when this one's ready. But if you can think of a name, or I also think they remind me of little, I don't know, scallops or something. But there is a different crochet stitch called a scallop. So we're different, yeah, edging. So I can't really go with that actual name, but yeah. I'm gonna, even though I'm not 100% keen on the neckline on this one, I'm still gonna wear it because I still really like it. It's a really good cardigan. It's not faddy. It should be a sort of a wardrobe staple and last a long time. The pink version, I was going to say it was going to be my last version. I wasn't going to make another one, but I would like to make one that's not in fluffy yarn, because you can do it This is not a blocked swatch, but it is a swatch nevertheless, made out of like a kind of fairly standard double knit yarn, and I still think it's a, you know, even without the fluff, it still looks really good. I love it. But I did also I've done a stack of swatches just to try and work out what kind of alternative yarns I can suggest in the pattern. Here's another one which I do really like. This is two kind of drops yarns held together. It is the brushed alpaca and baby merino, which is quite a nice fit. I think I went up a hook size for this one to meet, so it kind of was closer to the actual gauge of the Get Your Fluff On from Hobbycraft. But I do need to block these ones. But they're my two faves as alternative suggestions. But that's it. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of even more, because it's not my job to test every single yarn on the market. I can't do that, it's not possible. But what I can do is come up with my two faves as an alternative and suggest those, so that people aren't completely going, well, I can't get that yarn that you made the samples in. So that's what I've done. I've hit a snag. It's not the only frogging I've done. I've done frogging on a cowl. I frogged 3 and reworked it again one more time. Another thing waiting to be blocked is this. Oh, it's blown out, isn't it? So this is a C2C cowl, and it's got eyelets, I guess you could call them eyelets, little holes. And that works up to be a really nice cowl. This is a 4-ply yarn, which is like a woolly, halo-y one, which I think was really nice. But I did try it in kind of like a sock yarn, of like a fingering weight yarn, of hand dyed. But I wasn't feeling it. Not to say that it won't work, but the yarn I was using was quite sort of splotchy in colour, and it turned out that I really just liked a plain yarn for this one. No kind of colour changes or anything like that. When it's blocked, these eyelets come alive, they really do. It's finished with a crab stitch edge, but it doesn't like bright pink. Cameras do not like bright pink, and they do not like green. But I've also done it in a this is knit by numbers, and as you can see, this one has been blocked, and those eyelets are really nice and big. It's good, isn't it? So this is a design. This one's quite fitted, because sometimes you don't want, if you've got a cowl, the reason you've got a cowl is because you want your neck to be kept warm. When you've got a big drapey cowl, it's doing nothing. It's not sitting anywhere near your neck. So this one was intended as a really close fitting one. Knit by numbers 4-ply, which is 100% merino from John Arbon Textiles. I don't know when, I think I bought the yarn years ago. It was supposed to be the edge for Harvest Moon, my crescent shaped shawl, and I didn't like the colour on the shawl, so I frogged it back, but it's now a cowl. That was the second cowl I made, and this was the first one. So this is called Farmer's Field, because the colours, it reminded, the lines and whatnot reminded me of ploughed fields, and then also the colours were like a British summer, so muddy puddles and grey clouds, lush verdant green with the rain. So that's the colour, that's the reason why I chose these colours, which actually I don't think they're very me. I wish I'd gone for a different set of colours, but they still work. This is John Arbon Textiles Yarnadelic, and it's the mini skeins. It's 4 sorry, 4 lots of 25 grams for the minis that they do in this range. But yeah, I wish I'd chosen like all the purpley pinks and oranges and things like that. Then it would have been all sunsetty. But there are some hits and some misses in this kind of thing. But this one's slightly drapier because it has more stitches than the length. So if you wanted something that wasn't quite so close fitting, you've got this. And the pattern that I wrote is this. It's not the other one. But I will, when I release it, include this version. This is Bar Ram U Titus, but I don't know if they do it anymore. Bar Ram U. It was just a skein with a little bit left over. And again, I think this one's going to be, I mean, it's, yeah, blocked against, not blocked here, but it's got more width to it than the cream version. But yeah, it might well end up like this. I think it's slightly fatter yarn. So yeah, Farmer's Field it's called, and I wrote it up and created it for a workshop that I did ages ago. Ages and ages and ages ago. When was it? June. Okay. Where are we? We're August. It feels like a lifetime ago. I drove up to North Devon and yeah, did a workshop for the day teaching how to do C2C, and all the people that took the course got that pattern to work on, and it went really well. I was really pleased. Everybody was really lovely about it. But I think probably, I don't know, I just felt like I could have come up with a better design. It's quite a simple design. Sometimes simple is the best, but I really wanted it to be amazing, but it couldn't be intricate and difficult or overly complex, because it was for people that hadn't done C2C before or were sort of rusty with their crochet, so it had to be kept simple. I think I just felt I put a lot of pressure on myself for it to be amazing, and could have been better. But I still do like it. It's just I tell you what it is. I find it really difficult when there's no real brief, or I have to create the brief myself. I love working from a brief because I've got some focus, something to focus on. Whereas if I don't have anything, if I've got the complete freedom, I panic a bit, and I don't know if it's what is in somebody else's mind when they go, oh yeah, just come up with a design, but what? So it was felt a bit like that. But I shall release that properly as a proper design once I've blocked and photographed the pink version, which I think is my favourite. It's on the list of things to sort out anyway. But I need to block these swatches as well to make sure they are indeed as I think they are, which is matching the cardigan gauge. So, oh, and there was another one as well I did, which was that was another drops one, but I can't remember. I tried all sorts of different yarns for that swatch. All sorts, I tell you. I've got loads of them, so like that wasn't too far off, but it was a bit on the small side. But I did only use a 4mm, not 4.5, which I could have done, and that might have made a difference. But this was the John Arbon's Warblers. I also tried their Appledore range. This is a Rowan Alpaca Classic, which was too small. That came up way small. Very dainty in comparison. Stylecraft, not bad, but I can't remember if it matches or not. That wasn't too bad. West Yorkshire Spinners Baby something or other, can't remember. But not perfect. And then there was this one which was from Hobby, which was an Aran weight yarn. But then when I blocked it, because it's acrylic, it sort of killed it a little bit, and I didn't like the sort of the drapiness of it. I'll just briefly mention this hat as well, because I put this on the blog. Again, like as well as YouTube videos, the other thing I've completely neglected is the blog. I haven't been on it since the last time I did a podcast, which is an outrage. But recently I put this hat pattern. I put this hat pattern on the blog, so it's a free pattern. A bucket hat, cotton bucket hat. I don't know. Should I do one of those thumbnails? Whenever those thumbnails come up on YouTube as you're doing them, mine always look absolutely hideous. This is leftovers from a project I did for Inside Crochet magazine, which was not hat related at all. It's King Cowl cotton soft, as per usual, because that's my go-to cotton yarn. I've got a knot in my frogging. So my full stash of King Cowl cotton soft is this. Oh, is that where the hat went? Oh no, that's half a hat. Is that half a hat? Yeah. I started, see, that's a stripy version. Oh God, look at those joins. This is the one I did when I was camping and I wasn't concentrating, but I abandoned it. Don't know. Maybe I decided the joins were too messy because I wasn't concentrating. Anyway, so I'm gonna do not another hat, because I made 2.5. One's lost, and there's the other 1.5. But there is. I've also made, for Inside Crochet magazine, issue 149, I did a market bag. This is not it, because they've still got the one that's featured in the magazine. This one's not as good. It's not as, it was just a sort of like, oh, I'll do wider stripes and then I'll do them like this. But actually, I think it is a bit rubbish. The original is much better. I'll have to put a photograph of the original in the show notes so you can have a look. But it's the same pattern. I followed my own pattern, the design I'd come up with. It didn't like the red, did it? No. It blew out then for a moment. It's basically a granny that I did corner to corner to create a diagonal stripe as you hold it. So it's a granny stitch market bag, and then to bring it all together, it's this border. This border in red is what creates the shape. So initially it's just one big giant square, and then you bring it all together with the shaping of these stitches, and then you've got yourself a bag, which I use all the time. I just bit my tongue. I use it all the time. What I'm going to do is, I think it's the magazine buy the rights for 3 months, and then after 3 months I can release it as my own pattern. So that works out to be October. At the end of October I can release it as a pattern, and what I want to do at the same time is come up with a different stitch pattern. Same principle with the shaping and stuff like that, but it won't be granny stitches, it will be V-stitch or some other stitch that's worked either corner to corner or not corner to corner. I haven't thought about that. I could do it not corner to corner as an alternative. Don't know. I might stick to the corner to corner. And then there are options then within the pattern. But that will be coming out independently from October, but right now it's available in issue 149 of Inside Crochet. So I was making that, and then I had leftovers, so that's why I did the hats. That's that's where I was getting at with that. So I've got all of this left over, so I can still do another bag with it, you see. And then maybe I'll have used it all up. I'll still have plenty left, won't I? Yeah. So that's that. I still want to make designs from other people as well. Other designers have some great stuff out there at the moment. I just don't have the time. Just don't have the time. I've had this bag for about 3 months, and inside it sits Clarissa Beth's vintage wave socks. So I printed off the pattern. I was ready to go. I've got my yarn, which Janine gave me. Janine sent me. She's one of my friends who lives in Canada. She's building her own house at the minute. It's amazing. So I was going to do the main body with the sock with that, and that's toes and ankle cuff with that. But literally, it's been sat there for ages, and because I think I need to think about it before I get going, and so because it's a thinker, I haven't done anything with it. I need some easy projects, and I don't have any at the minute, and I've got two of the Nomad Stitches garments I want to make as well, and I've got the yarn for that as well, all set up ready to go. Haven't done it. I want to be able to get this puff stitch cardigan done and written up, and before I allow myself any sort of relaxation crochet. But then I've got other designs on the horizon that I would really, really love to make as well. I want to make another Christmas jumper, or, you know, a wintry jumper, and I want to make design a yoke jumper as well, and I've got the yarn for that as well. There's lots of wants, and it can get overwhelming sometimes, can't it? That's not all either, I have more. Speaking of the Christmas cardigan jumper, I was like playing around with stuff like this, you see, and because last year I did a C2C Christmas jumper, and I just wanted to build on it and make it a bit more sophisticated and maybe have some different shaping, so that it wasn't just a boat neck, but it was actually had some proper neck and shoulder drop stuff going on. But this, I think the motif is just enormous. It's just, I have a text message. This is just too big a motif for a sweater, so it's not going to happen. But it could be a wall hanging or something, couldn't it? Or Santa's sack or something like that. Or I might just abandon it. I don't know. I've got more ideas. Don't worry. And then also, I keep scratching at my face because I've got all these fibres out. I don't know whether to show you this or not. Do I know whether to show you or keep it secret? I'm rubbish at keeping secrets, so just look at this, okay? So that was corner to corner, standard, traditional corner to corner, but look at the difference between the half treble corner to corner and the treble corner to corner. This could become a motif for a sweater because it's smaller. I'm going to block these and see how these go as well. This is a 4-ply from Cascade Heritage, is it? I've gone wrong somewhere. Can you? Oh, there. I added an extra little lilac square by mistake. So that's the trick. If you wanted smaller motifs, you do your corner to cornering as a half treble, half DC in US speak, to smush it down. It makes considerable difference, doesn't it? But I want that to be a Christmas jumper, so if you see anyone else do it, you know that it was here first, you saw it here first, and if somebody comes out with it, then either it's a really strong coincidence, or they've pilfered my ideas. 'Tis on record. I'm very frog and throaty today, and I don't know why. It's been like it all morning. I'm so sorry. I've got more. There's more. Honestly though, in trying to do the swatches for that puff stitch cardigan, I bought all these different yarns. As soon as I got like that wibbly one, I went, no, that's definitely not going to do it. And so I didn't even bother trying. There was that Astrops Air. That was wrong as well for some reason. I think it was too small, which surprised me. Maybe I should have gone up a hook size. All of this tinkering, but together, I think, not that you can see very well through the mesh bag, but I want that to be a project in itself, just a real sort of earthy lot of contrasting textures and different yarns. But what could I make with a whole mishmash of different yarns? What could that be? I just have an idea in my head that they would go really well together as something, but I don't know what that something is. Whether or not, strangely, I'm thinking leg warmers. I don't think I've worn leg warmers in my adult life though. But if the temperatures plummet, they would be awfully cosy, right? It's very warm outside today, but it's the second heat wave of the year has passed, thank goodness. It was intense. It was intense, especially working in an office with other people where there's no air conditioning and it's just like an absolute oven. We have fans going that are just pushing hot air around. The windows are open, but it's hotter outside than it is in, or just the same. And then the sun is so intense you can feel it burning your skin as soon as you're in it. I can't remember where I was going with that. It's past. We have had 2 of those heat waves in the last few weeks, where it's sort of, yeah. I don't, where you come from it might be hotter, but it was reading 32, 33 degrees on the thermometer, as like a standard kind of everyday heat. That wasn't just like a mere blip, and then it went back down to maybe like a 28 or 29, which is still mega hot, but you know, temperatures we have seen before. But 33 and hotter in different parts of this country with no air conditioning, no means of, the kids just found it impossible to sleep. Their room was boiling hot. Me and Peter slept downstairs because it was cooler and we could have the door open, but upstairs it was at least 5 degrees hotter. Blah 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 blah. It's passed, but it does mean that we've got a bumper crop of figs because they have loved that hot weather. So when I finished doing this, yesterday I dried some figs, and I'm going to try and make fig rolls. I can make the children do it as well. And then I'm going to do, I made some fig chutney yesterday, and I might make more fig chutney in a couple of days. And then there's also shed loads of courgettes. So every week I've been making at least 2 courgette cakes. I've got 1 in the freezer. I need more to freeze. I want to freeze them so that I've got them throughout the autumn as well to eat. But honestly, we've had courgette carbonara. That's zucchinis, by the way. Courgette carbonara, courgette cake, courgette and chickpea curry, courgette barbecued as like funny little long steaks that have been marinated, ribbons of courgette that are in salads. I tried a courgette and lemon and lime drizzle cake and it was horrible. I love lemon drizzle cake, I love lime drizzle cake, I love courgette cake with walnuts in it, and it's a bit like carrot cake. But do I like them combined? No, I don't. It was a stodgy mess. There was a recipe once for little tiny bits of cubed, finely diced courgette with cheese and breadcrumbs, and then you just like have these little bite-sized mouthfuls of that. That's all right, but I can't be asked to make it. I'm sure there's recipes I haven't tried as well, but honestly, we eat courgette a lot. But the runner beans did not like that heat, and therefore they have suffered, and our runner beans. I might go out and pick the borlottis though. Borlottis could be dried out, and then I can use them in the autumn and winter. I don't know where that tangent is going, because basically I still haven't finished talking about crochet. We've been swimming in the sea a lot as well. When I come home from work, we'll go drive down to the beach, and then we'll take a picnic. We'll go and have pasta salad or something on the beach, and then go and swim in the sea amongst the fishies. That's been good fun. And it's not until you get down there and you get in the water that you realise how hot you've been all day. And it's the first time where you felt normal. And the sea was warm. It was like actually warm. And you rather than sort of going in and screaming because it's so cold, because this is the UK after all, you go in, you're like, oh, it's a bit like the Mediterranean. It's been absolutely bonkers. I don't think our sea swimming endeavours have ended yet, because the sea will remain warm for probably a good couple of months more. It's had all summer, isn't it, heating up, so it's not just going to switch off and be cold again. So if it's reasonably nice on a day after work or something like that, then we'll probably head down to the beach again. It's only like a 10-minute drive, and then depending on which beach you go to, you might want to walk to a quieter one as well, where there's not many others about. Or some evenings we walk along the river and go to the pub. That's been nice too. Anyway. Yes, no, I really haven't finished talking about crochet. I've designed something else as well. I commissioned, I can't tell you about, but I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it a lot. I'll tell you about that another time. So, for Christmas, did I show you that my sister had spun some alpaca and dyed it with indigo? I've turned it into a shawl, but it's a work in progress. I may need to frog it back to the main body. It smells like wool wash. So it's a linen stitch for the main body, and then it's a wibbly wobbly edge, again using, sorry to say, if you're not a fan of the puff stitch, you're not going to like any of my designs, but this also has a puff stitch on it, because I like the puff stitch. But probably this will be it then. There'll be no more puff stitches. I want to visit new stitches, new to me stitches, and move on. And but technically, I've got like a puff stitch collection at the end of this year. I could have this shawl, the cardigan, and I did Fields of Wheat shawl, which had puff stitches on it too. But anyway, so are these wibble wobbles too broad, too big? Do I need to make them smaller so that there's more of them? Or is that a good balance? I do need more of them, probably, to be deeper, but look. That's how much yarn I had at the end. I really used every single scrap of yarn I had for it. But I'm not happy with the edge, not completely. Again, I am sort of in cahoots about the breadth of the stitch repeat, the pattern repeat, because it could arguably be shorter, because look at this. See, that's based off this swatch I did, okay? Which is based off of a smaller stitch, which again is based off of, oh no, is that the smaller one? There's a chatty squirrel outside. Oh, this is the big boy. And then this is the smaller one, and this is based off a stitch pattern I saw in the Stitch Dictionary, but made a few changes to it. So I could have, but I like the undulation of that. It's far more curved, isn't it? And more and prettier than this one, which is more peaks and troughsies. But it does create a narrower breadth of stitch pattern. But also, finally, there's too many rows of boringness before you get to the puff stitches. So take away the boring rows where effectively I'm trying to get the peaks and the troughs before I embark on the main pretty. I might get rid of all of that and then just have one row of it and make the stitches tall. I wanted to avoid double trebles and things because I don't often like them, but maybe it's a necessity on this one. So what do you reckon? I might try and frog that back because it would be nice to not have this just as a, you know, when you, and also I just know I won't wear it if I'm not completely happy with it, and I would like to be able to wear this one because the yarn is special. But I'm afraid of this yarn. I don't know if it will frog well. Can you hear him out there? Shouty squirrels. They're very funny, I think. They always sound so angry. Probably shouting at birds or the cats or something. So yeah, again, I'll be visiting Frogsville, won't I? And then finally, I also have, I've got ideas for that with some different colours in there too, so that it's not all just one colour. I want to do a couple of different samples, which may take me towards the end of the year, and I need some yarn for them, but we shall see. I want to do two different versions, probably one colour version and then one with striped colours in it. And finally, I have designed a shawl for the Fibre Company, which is a really nice yarn brand company. They've designed a whole crochet collection, and I think it might be their first crochet collection. There's some really nice things in there from designers that you already will know and love. It's got Lottie and Albert, a top from Lindsay, and there's a cardigan from Sandra of Nomad Stitches. There's a shawl from me, and there's a couple of other shawls and wraps, and a bag as well from, can't remember their name, is it Brunicality or Brunicality? That sounds right to me. I don't know them very well, but I have heard the name. So I've done a giant granny square shawl that's really 70s in style, because I've got those like Montricot books from the 70s and early 80s, and the designs in there are cool as you like, and quite often the shawls in those books are gargantuan. They're massive, they're enormous. So I wanted to go back to that kind of 70s look of giant shawl, which is all lacy and lots of tassels and things like that. So I designed a massive granny square shawl with some colour work in it as well, and it's completely lace weight yarn. So to make a shawl that big, all out of lace weight, was quite a task, I'll tell you. Each square is a bit like this, so it's like a circly centre, working out to, this was like a swatchy one, so it's not perfect. The actual shawl is better, but yeah, so lots and lots of squares like that I made, and then lots of triangles too to go around the edge. And it was done in these three sort of very earthy, subtle colours. The palette we were allowed to choose from only had about 6 different shades in it, so I went with these ones thinking of, again, much like the Farmer's Field, this was also a field of, I don't know what it is with me in fields, because I've got wheat fields, I've got Farmer's Field, oh god, too many fields, may I have to change the name? And then this one, which is called Perpetual Dawn, actually. Hasn't got a farmy name at all, but it reminded me of somebody wafting about the field with all the dried wheat, not Theresa May, all the wheat grasses blowing in the wind as the sun comes up, and maybe you've got yourself a cup of tea, and you just, or maybe you sat on a veranda looking out over a field. I don't know, maybe we're in Fields of Dream territory here. Anything. But that was what I had in my mind when I was thinking of this shawl. I wanted it to be sort of romantical. I know that's not a real word. Sort of with vintage vibes and, you know, hazy lighting and all of that. That's what I had in my noggin when I did it. And this is silk. It's got silk in it. It's got, I can't remember. It is the yarn. The yarn collection is called Meadow. It says rustic luxury, a textured blend of baby llama, silk, linen, and merino wool. So it's strong and soft, and it goes a long way, but it's still, because it's an enormous shawl, you use an awful lot of yarn. That one's available. The pattern you can see on the Fibre Company. It's attached to my Ravelry, but I'm not ever going to be selling it myself. It will be bought as a pattern through the Fibre Company, because it was as a sold directly to them as a pattern without any rights reverting back to me ever, which is okay. It's fine. Certainly with something like a granny square shawl, you're not going to sell like vast quantities of patterns anyway, because most people would just go off piece and do their own, because it's, you know, everybody knows how to make a granny if they want to, don't they? Or any kind of square and piece it together. But those are my leftovers. I don't really know what to do with them, apart from maybe a smaller version. I could do a cowl version. Well, I didn't think that was going to be an idea, but that's just popped into my head. Fabulous. I think I'll leave it there though, if that's all right, because I've been talking for quite a long time and I've completely forgotten how to put a video together and edit it and all of that. No idea. It's been such a long time. But there's lots to work on, isn't there? There's lots to work on. But the cardigan comes first. That's my priority, and then the shawl, and then any other ideas that, you know, I've talked about, maybe I've mentioned. They're still on my list of things to do, but yeah, I'll get to them eventually, unless they get bumped for a better idea, which happens quite a lot. My mum wants a cardigan for Christmas. I said I'd make her one. And although it's August now, how quickly has this year gone? So I'd better not forget to do that. Yeah. I think that'll do for now, won't it? I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Because I'm not like going anywhere forever, I don't think. It's just going to be fewer and far between. I don't want to do it for the sake of doing it. I want to do it when I'm in the mood and when I'm going to enjoy myself and enjoy talking to you, rather than sort of like a show and tell where I'm not really feeling the enthusiasm for it. Right now I'm sort of a little bit, I can see why I would get overwhelmed with all of this, you know, but I'm trying to get perspective and just focus on the first things, and then see how I do. It's the curse of the creative, isn't it? Never satisfied, never done, always striving to be better and do the next exciting thing. Yeah. But I'm on holiday this week, so I said I would take it easy, and I wouldn't push myself. I wouldn't do too much. So as a result, yesterday literally I didn't do any crochet at all. No, I don't think. Oh no, maybe I did in the evening, but not very much. And right now, my next job will be courgette cake, and I might make the children do the fig rolls. I don't even know if it can be nice. Any good, because the figs I dried out in the oven yesterday, They just look a bit blackened. I'm not sure they're dried figs, but just more like overdone cooked figs. I'm just going to chuck all that in there and I'll sort it out later. But yeah, let me know, do you have a favourite of those things? What would you like to see first? Once I've done the cardigan, what's the thing that you're like excited about? Also, quick question. Do you think crochet has changed over the last sort of year or two? Are you seeing more interesting, intricate, sophisticated designs? Is that your preference, or do you quite like the sort of the cheerful, easy things? What appeals to you about crochet? Because as much as I love the sort of the easy, cheerful things and the colourful things, I do strive to make crochet that is proper and stands out by itself without sort of just being another one of the same. I don't, you know, no more pot holders, no more mug cozies, no more toilet roll holders. I want to see real garments, and even if it's blankets, I want them to be super duper clever and interesting. It's difficult, isn't it? Because some people might look at my work and go, well, yours is none of those things either, love. Okay, that wasn't a quick question. That went on for a minute and a half, probably. Anyway, I'm going to go and have some lunch now. And then next time you see me, I might be wearing aligners, because I'm going to get myself some aligners because I'm fed up of these. So that's another reason why podcasts might not be so off, you know, will remain irregular, because I'm not sure if I'll have a major lisp going on or not. I hope you're well, and I will see you when I see you. Happy crocheting and all that jazz. See ya. Bye bye. Thank you.